Good morning. Time to make the coffee. Well, today it's going to be a lovely 81 degrees. So that will be nice. And I think I'm going to, as usual, I think I'm getting in a rut here. I'm going to go out and do a little work in my garden. Time's a ticking before cold weather sets in. So that's my plan for the day. I'll plan to go in and out of the garden, do a little work, do a little rest, and see what the day brings. So I have so many things to do inside too, but I'm working on that a little bit at a time too. So I'd like to get everything done before the holidays anyway. Not everything, but have everything looking good inside and outside. So we'll see if I accomplish that goal. Otherwise, I'll keep plugging away at it. Cheers. Sometimes, do you ever think, like, I don't know how things got so messed up and out of hand? For me, I kind of know when that happened. It happened when I was having a mouse problem. And by the time we realized that we had a mouse problem, we had several mice. So I had to hire an exterminator. My grandson used to sort of live in the basement. But then the mice freaked him out, and I don't blame him. So he moved all his stuff upstairs, and he works from home. So he's got a ton of computer things. So that required 2 of my bedrooms to be moved around and that stuff. It's like, well, what do I do with that stuff? Because I know he's not going to live here forever. He's trying to save up for his own place. So that kind of started the mess, and I didn't want to get rid of everything from those 2 bedrooms because, when he does get his own place, the stuff that was in the bedrooms is going to go back in there. So it's like, well, what do I do with the stuff in the meantime? And actually the last, 15 years, I'd say, probably longer than that, my house has kind of been an in and out. I've had different people living with me. Had my daughter and her fiance and my one grandson living here for about a year, so had to make room for them. Then they moved out. Then I had Tom, my second husband, living with me, and his 2 kids living with me. So they all moved in. His kids moved out. Then he moved out. My grandson came to live here because my daughter and her husband were renovating a house. So there wasn't enough room for everybody. Well, they totally gutted it for one thing. So they lived with his mom for a good couple years, and my grandson wanted to live here with me because that's not his grandma, so he wanted to live here with me. So ever since then, he's been living here with me, but I hardly ever see him. He's always in his rooms, or he used to always be in the basement. So I'm kind of like living alone, but I have the aftermath of all these people moving in and moving out and rearranging things and redoing things. So, and a lot of things I've gotten rid of, and other things I just didn't want to get rid of because I actually have room in the house. If it was just me, I would have room in the house, but I'm not in any big rush. And plus that, I'm in the process of sort of trying to downsize my things. Like, for instance, for the holidays, I don't go crazy decorating anymore. I usually decorate my little half bath down here, and that requires me to change the towels to a different color of the season, and to decorate my mantle in the living room. And sometimes I switch the pillow covers on the pillows that I have, and make it festive, but that's about all I do anymore. It's too much work putting everything away and getting everything out and storing everything. So, but I do have still quite a bit of decor up in my garage attic that's going to need to come down probably by the end of next month, that I want to get rid of. So, sometimes that requires me to rearrange things and reorganize things that I don't use anymore. So I'm always tearing something apart and trying to make it more cohesive and a little easier to take care of. So, anyway, that's been my story the last 15 years, anyway. And it's been a lot of work. So, anyway, I'm going to go enjoy my coffee for a little while, and I think about systematically trying to do something with my garden, because I need to trim a lot of things in the back, and I also need to start raking up the leaves. So, okay, I will be back. I'm sitting here drinking my morning coffee. Cheers again. And I've been thinking, it seems like nowadays, at least in my world, everything has a time stamp. And by that I mean, like in the spring, you're under time restrictions to get the garden in, or the garden cleaned up from the previous winter. And the weather has a lot to do with it, whether you can progress or not progress. So, and then, like my garage, for instance, that I have to get done before the weather turns too cold. Otherwise, it'll be too cold out there in the garage. So I have to hire somebody for that. I can't do that by myself, because it requires me to not only clean up what's already in the garage, and that's going to get even more stuff in it after I clean up the garden, because some things I have to bring in for the winter. So that requires a time restriction. But you always feel like you're just like, I gotta hurry, and I'm trying not to do that. I'm trying to remain calm and get things done in a slow fashion. But, the weather has a lot to do with it. Now, if you live in a region where the weather is good all the time, and I don't know where that is, because a lot of times, even in the southern states or wherever else you live, it's the heat that's too much, and then you can't get anything done outside either. So I don't like that. I don't like living under a time schedule, especially when you're retired. But, I did that enough when I worked. I mean, I worked a lot of years as a hairdresser for 30. And, of course, there you're always on a schedule. You have your next client, and they don't want to be sitting there waiting. And if your first client is late, it makes you late. So that's a lot of time restrictions. Then when I was a nurse, that was again lots of time restrictions. You had to get your work in at a certain time. You had to get it submitted to the government for payment. Or if you're floor nursing, you have your medications that you have to get passed within a certain window, or you have to go help people get cleaned up, or whatever it is. So I did that for most of my adult working life. I was always on somebody's schedule. So I've been retired for a number of years. And when I was younger, it wasn't so bad because I could keep up with things. I didn't have, I mean, I've had these, the fibro and all that, the arthritis for many years, but as I get older, of course, it gets worse. And now my time restriction is more, has to do with the weather and getting things done outside. And also inside, I have to consider what I can still do in a day because it's not what it used to be. So I'm trying to figure out more of a way to get things done in a more relaxed fashion. And that's why I'm downsizing, why I'm getting rid of things, why I don't decorate as much as I used to. Even my cooking lately, I don't cook as much as I used to. I make a meal that I can eat for maybe 2 or 3 times and maybe add a couple of different sides to it or something. So, and now, sometimes I buy the ready-made pizza, or I'll have the ramen noodles, or, whatever. So making adjustments and not letting things overwhelm you is a project in itself. But I guess a lot of us face that as we get older. And even people with families, you have your schedules. I see it with my daughter. She's always running around, taking this child here and that child there. It's getting a little easier now that 2 of her children drive. But still, they were always into sports, and she works from home, but she has schedules and deadlines that she has to meet as well. So I don't know when it stops, when you can actually take a breath and say, okay, I don't need to rush around that much anymore because I got the major things done and out of the way. So that's why I think even though money is really tight right now, I think that's why I need to hire some help. And if that means taking a chunk out of my retirement savings, well, then so be it. But I don't like having a lot of things hanging over my head. And yeah, it's been a challenge the last, I would say, 2 years anyway. Like I said, I had the mouse problem, and that really disrupted our lives here. And I'm under contract with the exterminator, so they still come every couple months, and I have them checked to make sure there's no more mice. And I think I solved the problem too, because I had a couple openings in the house where like pipes came in and things, so I patched all that up, and I check that every now and then to make sure that there aren't any more places where they can get in. But yeah, that was terrible. So it's caused a lot of chaos in my life, and redoing things and rearranging things. So, and then repairing everything. The roof went, the furnace went, the deck I had to have replaced, my windows. I still have 3 windows that need to be replaced soon. I mean, that list is getting smaller, but it really has been a lot lately. So sometimes I just have to take a day or 2 or maybe more and just take a breath and say, you know, I'm going to put the to-do list out of my mind for a few days and get it done. But now with the fall, with it getting later, there's certain things that I have to get done, like, you know, cleaning up. I could let it go till spring, but then I'll really have a big mess out there. And this coming up spring, I would like to just get my things planted, put in some compost in my beds, and just get things planted and be done with it and not have to worry about doing a ton of cleanup like I had to do this year and rearranging things and, you know, putting everything, moving heavy things. I'm trying to avoid that. So anyway, it's still pretty cool out there. I could go out there and get started, but I like to sit and have my coffee in the morning, have some breakfast or brunch because I don't like to eat too early. So have some brunch, and then 11, 12 o'clock, the weather warms up, and then I can go out and get something done. The front yard is looking pretty good now, and if I let the side yard go till next spring, that would be okay too. But the backyard needs to get done. And then I think I'm going to call the organizers for like maybe the 3rd or the last week of October, and just for half a day. I'm hoping it won't cost any more than maybe $350 or so for them to help me get things organized. I can do the garage part myself, what's out there, but I cannot do what's in the attic. That I need help with. So if you can afford it, and you know, save up your pennies, then get help if you can. You know, and some of you might say, well, can't you get your family to help you? But, you know, they all work. That's the thing. And they can't just all drop everything and, you know, devote all that time to me because that's just not the way it works. You know, I mean, my oldest son, his house needs a lot of work, so, and he works full time, so he has to get his stuff done. Same with my daughter, they're still renovating their house. That's been a years-long process, and she works full time, and she still has, you know, her kids at home. So the resources when it comes to family, it just isn't there, you know, so. And, you know, my grandson will help me out. He put in a new shower head for me, and if I ask him, he'll help me out. But, you know, you can't constantly be relying on freebies from your family either, because they have to give up something in order to give the time to you. So I would just rather, you know, scrape the money together and pay somebody and be done with it. So, okay, I'm going to finish my coffee and relax a little bit more before I go out and get a few things done. And then I'll be back. All right, well, having said all that, I just wanted to read a little something. I wanted to do a little reading. And this is becoming, it actually is one of my favorite books. And it's a small little book that I can read every day. And it's called Jesus Calling. And it's by Sarah Young. So I try and read this one passage every day. And it's kind of a different, it references different proverbs and all that, revelations, and it all puts it on a reading for the day. So anyway, talking about all the things that I talked about in my last little segment here, I wanted to read something to you if you're feeling overwhelmed or just you don't know where to start, or this really spoke to me when I read it. And this is what it says. It says, "You will not find my peace by engaging in excessive planning, attempting to control what will happen to you in the future. That is a commonly practiced form of unbelief. When your mind spins with multiple plans, peace may sometimes seem to be within your grasp, yet it always eludes you. Just when you think you have prepared for all possibilities, something unexpected pops up and throws things into confusion. I did not design the human mind to figure out the future. That is beyond your capability. I crafted your mind for continual communication with me. Bring me all your needs, your hopes and fears. Commit everything to my care. Turn from the path of planning to the path of peace." And that just really, really spoke to me, because in the grander scheme of things, and I know it happens to me, I'm sure it happens to you, we really don't have as much control as we think we do. So whenever I'm feeling sort of overwhelmed and, things are just out of control, I go back to that passage from this book. And that was from September 17th. And then it references Paul 5, 6 through 7, Proverbs 16 through 9, and Psalm 37, 5. So you can go if you like to read the Bible. Some people do, some don't. And I know, I'm sure a lot of people in my audience here may not be believers, but, you can still, if you believe in Christ, or you believe in the universe, or whatever your belief is. I mean, we all have connections, and most of us have another deity or being that comforts us. For me, it is Jesus. But, you do you. But that little passage really helps me. It makes me feel less stressed that somebody's in my corner, looking out for me, helping me. And for me, it's Jesus Christ. But even if you're a non-believer, you can still put it out there to have help and to have hope and to have love and just somebody to help you. So, all right, that's all I wanted to say. I wanted to share that reading with you because it did have a real effect on me and how I think. And it does bring me peace and calm. So, anyway, I'm going to get back to it. Well, I should put a couple of little pumpkins or something on here for the fall season. This is my foyer when you first come into my house. And then it goes into the living room. I keep this baby gate up here so that my dogs don't run out the front door. And when guests come, then it's a barrier until they get in the house. So that's why I keep the baby gate there. And then, of course, this is my living room. You all have seen that 100 times. I had this bookshelf built in. It's a built-in, and I really like it. A friend of mine built that. He's done a lot of work for me over the years. So anyway, that's my entrance to my house. And I think I will put a couple little pumpkins there. I have some pumpkins. And there's my chair, my reading area, my reading nook. And my fall decor. Okay, well, I decided my foyer needed a little something something. So I went in my garage and I looked for little things that I could put here just to make it look festive. So I'll decorate my foyer for the different holidays, and my mirror over here, my fireplace, and the little bathroom down here. I want to paint this home sign a different color. This is the color of my shutters outside, but I don't like that color in here, so I'm going to paint that, I don't know, maybe black. We'll see. But anyway, yeah, I just gathered up things I already had. I didn't want to buy any more new things. And I have stuff on the stairs that need to go up. I was thinking about getting carpet treads, but I don't know. I've been looking on Amazon. I've been thinking about that for a while yet. These used to be carpeted, but I had to have all that taken out because my cat used to pee. So rather than cleaning all that, I just went ahead and tore it all out and just had the steps painted. But anyway, yep, so I'm all set here, making things look festive. And I'm waiting for my plant stand. And I'm going to get ready to go to the farmer's market with my daughter, so I have to go get dressed. Well, we are in our favorite coffee shop. It's really cute in here. And it's a relatively new place. So, but we come here once a week and have coffee. That's my daughter. It's really a fun place. The farmer's market was closed. It was yesterday. So we had the long day. Oops, there's one more that we'll go to. Well, since the farmer's market was closed, we went to our favorite coffee shop, had a coffee and a piece of pastry. And then my daughter wanted to go to Aldi's and Costco, so I said, I'll tag along with you. So I got this from Aldi's. Figured it would be something to do. And this was around $8, and you can do 2 projects. I thought this would be nice right here to make that. And I got these nectarines from Aldi's, and I've gotten these a couple times already, and they were really good. So got those. And then we went to Costco, and I got this big, huge bag of chips. That was around $7. I think these were $3 and something. And then this was on sale. It was $5 off. And I like eggplant parmesan. There's 2 trays in here. Each one serves 5. So this is 10 meals, and that was $11 and something. So I thought that was a really good buy. So I picked that up, And then also they had this yogurt. It was $8. And these are the flavors. Cinnamon roll, vanilla bean, and salted caramel. Sounded good. And there's 12 in there. So that was a really good deal. And then on the way home, we stopped at Circle K, picked up some Lawson's chip dip. I don't know if that's all over the country or just local. But Lawson's closed many years ago. It was like a convenience store. But they still make the chip dip, and it is the best. So that was it. That was what I got at Aldi's and Costco. So all right, my friends, it's almost 4 o'clock in the afternoon. I have this lovely hairdo because we were in the car with the window down, so I just, oh, hello. Hello. Ouch. Yes, I know. It's not time yet. They think it's time for their TREAT, but they're like 45 minutes too early. So anyway, it's the end of my day. Ouch. You got sharp elbows. And yeah, thank you. And anyway, we want to wish you abundant blessings. We love you guys. Be good to yourself. Be good to others. God bless you. And I'll see you next time. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe, comment, and like. It helps my channel grow. Don't forget to share. And thanks for watching.